creating a culture of love.
It's a constant journey every day, but I never took care of myself.
Latino culture, it's you don't say anything, you don't speak up, you do your thing and you go home and Dominic Ciambrone, also the surgeon.
Yeah.
Used to be the shoe surgeon.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming in today. I've been following you for a really long time. I'm inspired by you and your journey as a creative. And then really getting to see you evolve over time when you started talking about the mental health struggle and things around that nature. And it's not just the glitz and the glam that we always see on social media. There's more. We're humans. We're fathers. We're business owners. So I'm excited to sit down with you and really unpack that and get to know who you are.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I mean, definitely know you from work around LA, and I think the messaging is the most important, love.
Mm-hmm.
And more people need to come from a place of love because we all have it. It's just how do you tap into it?
Yeah.
So it's just, you have a beautiful message. And, I see glimpses of you around LA without even knowing it.
Yeah.
You know?
And the other thing, we're meeting for the first time here today, right now. And we just got into it.
Yeah.
So thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for being open. So creativity and the journey is a beautiful thing, and fatherhood and how life takes us to this point, right? I'm a father now of a 2-year-old.
Congrats.
And I know.
Boy or girl?
He's a boy.
Okay.
His name's Remy.
Oh, nice.
And that has
What's his middle name?
Love. His
There
name's
you go.
Remy Love.
Remy Love.
Yeah.
Rojas?
Yeah.
Nice.
And he's a little stud. He's already an athletic beast. He's running around the soccer ball. I have high hopes. So I'm not going to push him in any direction because our job is just to shepherd them, not to direct. But we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see where that goes. Maybe one day you'll be designing a shoe for him.
Oh yeah. Hopefully. Let's do it.
But I want to tap in who you are, because a lot of us see the glitz and the success and the partnerships and the collabs, but they forget to see that there's a human behind it and what's behind that. And then what's the journey that got you to express your voice, your emotion, your presence through your medium, which is shoes, but you're really an artist.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, we have people we look up to.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of when you grow up, you look at celebrities to be that person.
Yeah.
You don't know why. And it is sometimes it's just the glitz and the glam, right? You're like, I like this guy because he has this or he makes this. And you don't know it any differently until you grow up and grow into yourself or become more in touch with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I always followed just, I grew up with rap, I grew up with rock, but I grew up with that, which most of us do, this celebrity thing that we think you need to be a celebrity, or you think there's validation to be a celebrity, or to even be like a celebrity, without really knowing the context. So yeah, I don't know, man. I started customizing shoes at age 15.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, I was always just creative as a kid, making shit. And that was my expression. And I've moved to LA 10 years ago. And that's been a journey.
Yeah.
Right? LA's a lot. And if you can't, not define who you are, but if you can't build that relationship with yourself, it's going to eat you. It's going to eat you alive. I used to come down to LA and it was bad times.
Yeah.
Before that. So I moved at the right time. I moved when I was pregnant with my first son.
Mm-hmm.
And my focus was let's build, and I have a kid, I got to provide.
Yeah.
And I figured it out.
Would having that child be one of the driving factors? Did something shift inside of you?
Definitely something shifted. Before that, though, it was a few things. It was moving to LA.
Mm-hmm.
My whole life, I was babied, right? Which is that my mom and my dad only knew what was best and how to take care. That's how they knew how to take care of me. and they gave me so much love, which I'll never take that from them. And being babied wasn't the best thing for me, because it made me need to latch on to someone to be okay or to take care of myself. So growing up, I was always, after graduating, I either lived with roommates or I lived with family or I lived with a girlfriend, but I never took care of myself. And I always looked to another person to make me feel whole.
Like a codependency. And
yeah, definitely very, very codependent. So not till I feel recently, in the last 2.5 years, I've been able to break through that and to really love myself and to take care of myself as I should.
And I think one of the misconceptions there, because I grew up, my parents loved me. They showed me affection. There wasn't anything like that, right? Sometimes people think, oh, you're broken because some crazy trauma happened to you. But everything is something. It's not that we tend to put a weight of like, well, you weren't abused, so you're fine and you could be okay. But we're not taught self-love. Like I gave a talk the other day and I ended it because some of it is like, well, what are we doing? How are we showing up? And now we have to be it and we have to embody it. And one of the lessons I'm learning now as a father, it's not so much, we don't come with instructions. Also, we don't come with how to become a parent. We're also learning. Yeah. But my parents didn't teach me self-love, and it's not because they didn't love me. They just didn't operate that way. And I can't teach my son, hey, this is self-love. This is what you do. What I'm doing is loving myself and being the example, and that's how he's going to learn self-love. Yeah, he's going to learn to love a woman because of how I love his mother. And I think that's where we start unpacking this. And was there a moment that led you to start realizing, hey, I need to do this for me because there is selfishness in it and there's selfless in it. And it's okay to be selfish. And we're not talking about narcissism or coming from ego.
I call it healthy selfish.
Yeah.
So people just think selfish in such a negative connotation. And sure, there could be a negative use of selfishness, but it's most important to take care of yourself. And I had a conversation with my father a few months ago. I said, I'm teaching my son how to self-love. And my dad instantly is like, you don't want him to be a narcissist. And I said, Dad, those are two completely different things, which is a sad thing because my dad doesn't know how to love himself. He busts his ass. He knows how to love other. He loves me. And he doesn't know how to love himself because he was taught that it's not okay. Yeah. It's narcissistic. And those are... they can't even compare those things. And, the more I love myself and the more I get to have this relationship with my kids, then, hopefully my dad will see that.
Yeah. No, and that's the truth. It's like work, show up, do your thing, shut up, don't say anything, and come home. And it's different if you're self-employed or you work for someone, but and especially in my culture, Latino culture, it's, you don't say anything. You don't speak up. You do your thing and you go home and whatever's in the house stays in the house. I remember as a kid, I used to be an oversharer. I'm very sensitive. I'm very emotional. And I would go share everything. And I remember as a kid, like being sat down in the corner. I was like, you don't say those things. You don't go and share. And that was one of the moments that's like, okay, let me just close off. Yeah. Let me put up armor. Let me not start sharing things. And even my mom would say, well, you haven't told me this or that. And I'm like, well, you didn't ask the right questions. You kind of taught me not to do this. And I'm not saying that as a cop-out, but we forget the things that led us to these points.
But being a parent's tough. And now we get to see what our parents did and did well, and then what we would like to change and do differently. Yeah. It's not better or worse. It's just differently.
Exactly.
Because no matter what we do for our children, it still won't be perfect.
We hope to break them less or whatever the case is. Like, hey, I'm doing my best. And it's not for any lack of gratitude. It's definitely not picking on my parents or anyone's parents. It's realizing that we are all actually doing our best. And no one's actually out against us or to get us unless, they're just wired a little bit different. But it's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah. No, I think our parents did the best they did. And someone else recently... Because I've held resentment towards them for so long, and then once I had children, even more, I was just like, "Holy shit!" Like, I'm letting this shit go right away. Like, but then a friend of mine, I was at a dinner, random person, and we sat down, and she just looked at me. She said, "Did you grow up free?" And I'm like, thought about it. I was like, I don't know how to answer that. And in my head, in my mind story, what I made up was like, hell no, like I had to do this and this as a kid. And then I said, can you help me define what you're asking me? And she said, you know, did you get to just grow up and go outside and ride your bikes and then come home and your parents loved you and fed you? I said, yes. She's like, you live free. And that's the common denominator of what's changing and what's helping people like myself, and it sounds like you as well, is like we were loved as children. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are not loved, and that's a very sad thing. Yeah. So, yeah.
And that's the truth. And it's how to take it, own it, move it forward, evolve it, and expand it, and then, you know, give it to our kids or everyone around us. But as a creator, then shifting the negative self-talk within our heads, right? There's always, maybe you have a soundtrack that's a little louder or not as loud. I have my soundtrack constantly going on. But where does fear and doubt start creeping in? And then maybe being unkind to ourselves because we have a creative block or we don't know where to go with this. How are you dealing with some of that now?
Well, I just want to go back to when I started. I was very creative as a kid, building forts in my backyard, changing my room, painting my room, moving my room around, sewing, building Legos, not following directions, drawing, coloring, computer design. Like I was doing all types of shit as a kid. And then, you know, you get into school, it's scary. You're just like all of these people. You're like put into this place with tons of other kids that you don't know what's going on. Older kids, especially high school, and I had an older brother, and he had friends that I hung out with, and they showed me fashion. And at the time, we would go to the malls or Ross and different stores and steal clothing, but like we would full outfits to make us feel. And what I found out was clothing was it was in a way to express myself and like feel good, and then connect with people. And I painted my first pair of shoes, or my cousin let me wear her 1985 original Jordan 1s my freshman year of high school, which was 2001. And I wore those to school and connected with a lot of people. And because wearing those shoes, I was able to just connect with people, and I felt good because I didn't know how to just go up to people like, hi, my name is Dominic. Like, it's not, you know, especially, I mean, even on the streets in LA, like it's just not, you can do that and there's a way to do it. But as a kid, you're just like, especially me, I felt like I was very introverted. Yeah, no, it's scary. Which I found out that I'm actually extroverted. That's why I want to connect with people. That's why I had these shoes on. I connected with people. Then I started getting Jordans early before they were released somehow. I hustled a lot. And I'd go to the malls and wear these Jordans that I had on that weren't even released yet. And I'd go into the stores and people were like, yo, where'd you get those? And I just like smirked. And I felt good about it, right? And looking at it from this lens now, it's like, okay, well, why were you doing those things? It felt like this narcissistic part of it, but was it like what were you driving towards, right? You wanted to connect with people and you wanted to do all this stuff, but like for what? And after that, all my friends had the same shoes. So it was like we texted each other, what shoes you wearing today? And I was 16 at the time. And it just didn't feel the same. If you had a pair of shoes that your friend had, they just weren't that cool. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I went to the store, got an airbrush from Michael's, which I also stole. I stole a lot in my life. I got stories there with you. A lot. I mean, there's a lot. And which, you know, that is a whole other thing that ate me from the inside that people don't realize. Stealing, lying, cheating, all of these things. And also like, so I went through a lot of that too, but not because I had a lack of anything. Right. It wasn't because I needed things. I used it to go fill other gaps of everything. I went to a private school, so I'd go steal and sell it back for 50%. I was just hustling, like, ooh, this is how I can make money. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it was just for me, it was just to be able to provide, and it was another way to connect with people. Yeah. Like they had to come to me to get stuff. Oh shit, I can get dope New Era hat for less, or this, you know, less. You can, he's the go-to guy to get sports shorts and anything, and yeah. I had a homie that worked at Champs, and he would just like backdoors, like. Yep. Yeah, I worked at Vans for a little bit, and we just walked out. I mean, there's so many stories. What were you saying before that?
No, you're saying so everyone started getting the same shoes. I remember having like the Flights and the Jordans. Me and one other guy were the only ones that had the shoes. So I remember that same connection too.
So for me in high school, like I was different than my friends. They had the Jordans, they had the Iversons. That was it. I had the Jordans. I didn't have the Iversons because I stopped playing basketball in high school. I was a soccer player. And I had K-Swiss, I had Shell Toes, I had Sperry's, I had Timberlands, I had Air Force Ones, I had random shoes that people have never seen. Like, I just liked to dress differently. One day I looked like Justin Timberlake. The next day I would be a fucking ball player. Yeah. Like, I just had these different looks. And because it was just an expression, like, this is the body, and I get to dress it however I want. Yeah. And it changes. So as a kid, I was really intuitive with that without knowing it. And I went to the store, grabbed an airbrush, airbrushed an all-white Air Force One mid, all camouflage, just really quickly. I used model paint. I went to school the next day, and it was the same thing. It was just connected with people. Yo, where'd you get those? I was like, oh, I made them. And that, at the time, it clicked. Yeah. The paint fell off right away, right? So then this, in my head, it's like, fuck, it's less about the art. It's like, how do I make this last forever? Yeah. And this is where, like, that perfection really, I need to make this thing perfect, right? So then I started, this is when that negative voice came, I feel like. I mean, my whole life, but there's this negative thing that's like, it needs to be perfect, right? So then after that, I need to find better paint. Then I started painting, and the strokes were bad. And I was like, I don't like painting. I got best dressed my senior year of high school. I sewed my prom tux with a friend's mother. I sewed clothing in high school. And then just the journey began of like, I can create something on my feet, and other people wanted it too. Yeah. And it just felt good. And it was mine in the sense that I got to do it myself. Yeah.
That was a place that you found your power, your voice, and your creative expression. And you were able to allow other people to get that same feeling that you created for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's come a long way since that time. And it's just cool. And I've recently, in the last 2.5 years, come to the terms of like, I'm grateful and I love myself enough to choose all the things that I have and the choices to get into this position where I'm at today. Before, it was this negative self-talk of like, it's not good enough. You're not good enough. Those aren't good enough. That's not good enough, from a negative, dark place. And then it took me to very dark places. And I had some people around me that were positive, and I had a partner around me that was not, and it was the same thing. Not good enough, yeah. Like more and more and more, not good enough. And I went to very dark places.
Yeah. And one voice is always louder. Yeah. And we're hoping that, like they say, the grass is greener where you water it. Yeah. Or what voice are you feeding? But what was the moment? What was the moment that clicked, that you're like, hey, if I keep going down this path, this is going to spiral into something worse? But was there a defining moment, something like, I'm going to start really taking back my power, my inner voice, putting the right people around me, and doing this for that purpose or that reason?
I think it's been a series of events in different times in my life. Age 24, I ended up in the mental hospital for the first time. I was diagnosed bipolar. I was also on a good amount of drugs. I jumped out of a window, a second-story window, right through the glass. Had no scratches. I mean, maybe a little bump, but I was fine. And they put me on a lot of medication to help me come down from mania, which I was self-medicating with drugs, from steroids to cocaine, drinking. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever drug was there. And I was diagnosed bipolar. I was in the hospital, and then I was on these pills, and these pills made me very numb. And the doctor told me I needed to be on these pills for the rest of my life. And when at that time, when you hear a doctor, you think they know everything.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, they go to school for enough, or for a long time. So there's some truth to that, but there's also there's not some truth to that, because there's so much more in this world rather than, I have what's crazy about this, I have really close friends that are doctors, all different types of doctors, right? And they see things in a different lens. And it's just So at that time, diagnosed bipolar, on pills. They told my mother that I needed to be on these pills for the rest of my life. I'd look up to my mother for everything. I'm like, Mom, they said I need to be on these pills. She's like, yeah, you do. Right? So at that moment, I lost trust with her, which she didn't know any better.
She thought the doctor was right, like most people do, right? So
yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one I'm still working on, my relationship with my parents.
Yeah.
Because I know none of it's their fault.
Yeah. But that right there is the moment that takes you to the other side, realizing that, right?
Yeah.
Because I have a very tough relationship with my mom. Like, her and my wife, they don't get along for whatever reason. I've gone through every avenue, and to the point of like, people are like, well, you only have one option now. Stop talking to her. It's like, it's not like I want that to happen. Is that the right thing, the wrong thing? Who knows? But when everything is triggered and amplified and is causing rifts in everything around you, you always got to do. That's where it comes back to like healthy selfish.
Yeah.
Is it wrong? Is it like, and then we have all this weight of, well, they're a parent, so we have this obligation. And now you start realizing, you get older and you create friends and circles around you. And you're like, I can create the family. You were born into a family, and we were born not of choice. We didn't say, hey, come make me come to earth, and now we're here.
Yeah. But I mean, we do get the conscious decision to decide if we want to talk to our parents or not.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need to not to, so we can both become more distant, then hopefully to bring you closer eventually. But yeah, they say that like you don't choose your family, but I do agree with boundaries and knowing how to speak your boundaries. And my parents are a lot, just like I'm a lot. And there's some things that I don't agree with. And I'm going to voice my opinion to them because I have kids. If they're going to be around my children or this, and if we don't agree on something or they can't see something in a way that's how I see it, then I'm going to take my kids or whoever out of that situation. And not that I think they're wrong. It's just that's not how I see it.
Yeah. It's also generationally different too. So we sat looking at all that. There's sometimes, it's funny, my wife and I will get into it because you start hearing all this stuff of your kids in school now. Like if a teacher starts indoctrinating or this or that, like my wife's like, I'm going to go in there and cause a ruckus. I'm going to be in jail. Like, I'm not going to tolerate all this stuff. Like, it's my kid. Yeah. Who are you to tell my kid what to think or do or this? So it's like, it's getting tough. Yeah. It's getting tough. And I think that's why another reason for this platform and what I'm doing is like, if we start coming from love and choosing love as often as possible and realizing like, okay, we don't have to have the same opinion or the same agreement, but if we come from love and we're doing the best thing for another human, then we can meet somewhere in the middle and then like either walk away or have a beer still. Yeah, yeah. You know, and that's where it gets tough because the judgment of what's happening out there.
I think just a lot of people don't understand what love is. They think it in this linear thing of like you need to be in love with a woman or another person, when it's like you have love for your parents in a different way. You have love for yourself in a different way. You have love for anything in this world, and love should be used more. That's why I think it's beautiful what you're doing, and it's like that love is everything and anything. Yeah. It's just how do you look at it? Yeah. How do you share it? How do you come from a place of love?
Yeah, that's why I say it's a verb. You got to act it. You got to choose it. Yeah. The definition says love is a strong feeling of affection. That's all it says it is. I'm like, come on. We throw it out like, look at the Greeks. They have 6 different ways, different words for love. Eros and philiautio and agape and, sexual love and love for your neighbor, love for your friend, love for yourself. Like, that's what love is. I think we just dumb it down, and then we think it's a rom-com or Valentine's Day. Yep. Love is roses and chocolates. Like, no, it's not. Love is making that hard choice, love that uncomfortable.
Consciousness and presence and being able to be present with anyone that you cross paths with.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's an employee or someone on the street. There's room for connection with anyone on this earth. It's just, do you make time for it? And is that person open to it as well? It's about being present in the moment, always. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, that's going to segue into something. There's something beautiful about what you've also been doing. I believe one of the most powerful things we can be as humans is be in service to others, right?
100%.
So
I'm 100% at service to humans, whether it's from teaching or even just making a pair of shoes that they want to wear that creates it evokes a feeling for them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it makes them feel a certain way because they get to choose how they feel, but they get to choose my shoes or my art and put them on, and it creates, it helps evoke an emotion for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then continuing to not only, you've created this over time, you figured things out, but now sharing it, right? How do I paint a mural? Well, this is what I do. You could do it this way, or you could do it that way. How do you make a shoe? You do it this way or that way. So it's when we start sharing what we've actually learned and generated over time and moving into that space.
Yeah, I've taught over 10,000 students, whether it was online or in person. And I had a mentor, 19 years old, met this bootmaker, Michael Anthony, I was working at a gym, and he signed up for the gym. And one of the girls that signed him up was like, "Oh, you got to meet this guy, Michael. He makes shoes." And, you know, I was always the shoe guy. But everyone knew it too. And I was like, "Oh yeah, someone makes shoes? Like what like that's crazy." And I met him, and it was like boots, which I wasn't fond of boots at the time. But I was just mesmerized of how much love and passion he put into his work and his craft. And we connected through the bipolar stuff and how he was, you know, he's had mania and all this stuff, and helped me through it mentally, as a mentor and peer. And then we connected, and we're like, we need to have a school one day. We need to have a trade school, because I hated school.
Yeah.
I didn't like having to be in a seat and reading a textbook and having to get good grades. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, the whole system's fucked up.
Yeah,
which,
regurgitating what they want you to learn. Yeah.
Which that's a whole nother conversation. But me and him were just like, we're going to open a trade school one day. And how long has it been? 7 years now or something? I had my first class in Brooklyn. And I had 9 different students from all over come, bring a different shoe for me to teach them how to deconstruct it and rebuild it. It was a 5-day class. It's one of the most stressful things I've ever done in my life. I was like, I'm never doing this again. Fuck this. But it's also because I made it very hard on myself, where it's like, there's no curriculum. Everyone has a different shoe. I have to figure out from every different person how to do this.
Yeah.
But I remember it was a 5-day class. 2 students were there on a Saturday. I stayed on the Saturday to help 2 of them finish, because it was important for me to have them finish. And I stayed on a Saturday to just help these guys finish, and I finished it. And then I slowed down and looked at myself. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's why I'm doing it. It's not for anything else other than for them."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, I love this." And I was like, "All right, well, how do I refine this so it's not taking a toll on myself as an artist?" And then since then, refine the classes, and the classes are more than just coming to learn how to make a pair of shoes. I tell them my story. I tell them all these vulnerable things. I tell them about healthy selfish. I tell them about everything I've gone through, and we do a daily affirmations in these classes where day 1 is gratitude. I go around, everyone introduces themselves. I'm like, you can share gratitude or you don't have to. Who are you grateful for today? And we go around, and you know, everyone's grateful about someone or something. And then day 2 is, I don't remember, healthy selfish, and we talk about, you know, I just share what healthy selfish is like that. People that come take this class are doing something for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Most people in this world do not do anything for themselves. And that doesn't make sense. But people don't know it that way. So the more you can give love to yourself and take care of yourself, the more you'll be able to be at service to others.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's interesting, because what you just said, and I think it applies more to women and mothers. You know, now that my wife's a mother, she's big into loving yourself and self-care and all this kind of stuff. But sometimes, or people will message me, "Hey, Ruben, I really want to buy one of your hoodies, but I can't do anything nice for myself." And I'm just like, I just look at that, and I get that over and over and over. It's like, I'm not healthy. I can't work out. I'm just a martyr. I'm sacrificing myself for my family, for my kids, for my this. It's like, how many of us are going through life as just a victim, or this mentality of it's happening to me, I'm just trying to get through it, right? And it's just, how do we reframe that more? Let's start responding versus reacting.
Yeah, I think that's why I share all my stories and my vulnerabilities, to show, like, you can, I've had very dark times, and I've also had a very loving childhood, but I also was very, very mean to myself, like a lot of people are, and they don't know any differently. So now that I get to share it, and like been through so much, that I get to share with my students of how to overcome that. Like, these students are coming, making never touching a sewing machine, making a shoe for the first time. Of course it's going to be shitty looking.
Yeah.
It took me years to even get to where it's at, and it's still not ever going to be perfect. I've learned to come from a place of good enough, but I'm also human. Let me refine that. And I don't use the word but. And I'm human, and I want more, better, different.
Yeah.
Right? So as long as I can come from that place of good enough, and share gratitude, I know that mentally I'll be at a good place.
Yeah, because there's times where I struggle with that. I'll be up on a mural 3 stories high. No one can see this, only me. And no one's going to be in that spot ever again. You got to rent a boom lift, scaffolding, whatever the case. And I'm just sitting there making sure that that little bit of stucco is not showing through. And I go mad over it.
Yeah.
And when you're really looking at the mural from like 30 feet back, no one can see that, but I know. So it's like, what is good enough? And then I was talking to someone, I was painting a mural in Columbus. It was brick. So the lines I couldn't get super crispy straight.
Yeah.
Like it was straight and the grout had a little blur. And I'm sitting there starting to beat myself up because I'm like, dude, this is for a thing. Like, we're doing a video. Like, this is being presented at the conference. It's got to be perfect. Like, it's got to be great. And he's like, have you ever heard of this thing called wabi-sabi?
Yep.
So you've heard of it. And then they told me that. And ever since that moment, now I'm just like,
it's perfectly imperfect, man.
Yeah.
I went through that even more 2.5 years ago, where all my shoes, like, the more expensive they get and the more like crazy they get, or more expensive, like the more the quality keeps going up, the prices go up. Like, it needs to be even more perfect. It needs to be even perfect. And then I designed a whole collection that's just like, the sewing's perfect, but everything else around it is just wabi-sabi. And it's like, it's the ends of leather, it's bite marks on the leather, it's scratches, and it's like, I love that shit. And I wear that, like, it's perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something to hold on to. You don't want to get stuck in that mindset of, I need to be perfect, or I need to strive for perfection. Of course, we always want to be better, but it's a very dark place to go. And then you latch on to other things, and then it can get very, very dark.
Yeah, because where I take that next is like judgment, because I'm like, okay, this is my work, my name's on it, I'm putting it out there. And if I don't think it's perfect, what's someone else going to think, and how are they going to judge me? And then I'm like, well, what if this artist looks at it, or this artist, or what if I don't get to that level and someone judges me and pushes me down because I didn't make this line perfect, or fade it, or this? Like, it's just a whole nasty thing.
Yeah, I think we just, it's cool to be aware of those things, but also don't get caught up in them. That's what I teach the students too. It's like, this first shoe isn't going to be perfect. Your second one's not going to be perfect. They're never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
The way I look at this space that I've built, the way I look at these shoes that I built, I can pick something apart. I can look at anything and pick something apart.
Yeah.
But that's not a healthy place to be. So let's always strive for more. I talk about trusting the process. It's very important. Like, focus on the process and you'll get better. It's a fact. That's why Kobe's in the gym. That's why when you're a professional athlete, the more you practice, the better you are. The more you practice or read whatever you do, the more you do it, naturally you get better.
Yeah.
And that's anything in life. Which goes into, like, people are like, oh, I can't draw, I'm not artistic. Because you don't apply yourself.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I might have some natural gift. Like, yes, I'm not a normal person. There's something to me, but I also believe that anyone could tap into it. It's just, how do you tap into it? You have to, you have to just go in deeper into yourself and apply yourself. If you don't know, if you don't try.
Yeah.
So I teach my children too. It's just like, yo, you got to try. You could be good at anything if you want to.
Yeah, and trying is doing it. Half the time we don't even want to try.
Yeah, we're scared to fail. People are scared to fail, and you need to fail. Failure is very important. The faster you fail, the better you get.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I defined true failure as never trying. You know? And then I also believe failure is okay.
Yeah, so true failure is not even putting yourself at bat to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never heard that.
Yeah,
I like
that's like, yeah. You imagine just, and that's where like most of my life is. Like I almost didn't move to LA and really take that next step because I was so comfortable living in a comfortable area, comfortable life. And then once I put myself in a very uncomfortable position, I made it happen.
Yeah.
It forced myself. And then my child coming, I was just like, I'm gonna figure this shit out. I was healthier to myself at the time. I overcame bipolar. I started doing Tai Chi. I started doing Eastern Chinese herbs, and just started eating healthy. I started walking. Like people don't realize all you got to do is walk and get outside and see the sun, and like it will change your mood. Yeah. People, you know, the way the healthcare is set up, it's like you need a pill, you'll be better. And it's like I've been there. And there's so much stuff you can do for yourself that will put you in a healthier mindset. And just little wins every time will take you to that next place. Yeah, and I agree. And part of it also though is on the other side of that is people are lazy and getting lazier, and they just want the pill. Like, give me the pill to be in shape. Yeah. Give me the pill to be happy. Give me the pill to. But what's the cost, right? Like you take this pill and all these side effects. You have IBS now. You have high blood pressure, cholesterol, cancer. Like, why do you want to take one thing to give you like 10 other things? I mean, humans don't know any better because we're force-fed what the government or whoever's controlling these narratives want to be fed. So, of course, we're all on this path, and it's who wants to be conscious and awake, or who can be. Yeah. And there's many people that are not. And that's also okay. Like, if everyone was a certain way, then it wouldn't make what humanity is. Humanity is beautiful. Yes, there's a lot of fucked up things and dark things, but there's also a lot more beautiful things. Yeah. It's easier for people to get focused on what's wrong or what's bad. And it's also more media friendly, right? Yeah, of course. Than what's actually good in the world. And the more negative news, the more negative things in the world that people see, the more they're going to be in fear, right? So we're born into fear without even knowing it like that. So, and that's from Sat saying, who I'll send you his music, man. It's life-changing. I just connected with him last week. Nice. And he's like, I love your sneakers, man. And I just like, I love your music, man. That's what we need. That's what's going to heal the world. Yeah. Because music's very healing, and it's also just very beautiful. There's also a lot of negative music in the world without people knowing it that way. And the more it's whatever you ingest, whether it's food or music or sounds or air or people you're around or things that you see, whatever you consume, it's going to show where you go in life. Yeah, consciously or unconsciously. Yeah. And most of the time we don't realize it. Oh, yeah. Like, that's why this is so beautiful. You some people can't even read it. You're just like, what does that say? But it's there, right? It says love, and the more you see that, then the more you just start, putting that in the consciousness. Yeah, and keeping it simple, right? We like to overcomplicate everything, but to the music, 'cause sometimes I'm hearing a song, the beats, right? You're just getting lost. The beat, it's so good. The bass line, all of it. You're not hearing the words at all. The hook's got a cool hook on it, and then one day you actually sit there and listen to the verse, and you're like, oh shit, what did he just say? Or what'd she just say? Yeah. And you're just like, that's wild. It's wild. Then they're just trying to make good music. I don't think they really know. They're also just living what they see is right. But it's so important just to consume healthier things for growth and, for mindset. A lot of people are just like, oh, I'm depressed or I'm this and that. And it's like, it's also about what you're consuming and what you're doing about it. And yes, there's people that are depressed and deal with things. And I do believe in Western medicine for certain things and times of use, but not forever. And there's other fixes. I have a friend who has a brand called Food Over Drugs, which is the coolest thing was So she does these herbs. She mixes these amazing herbs together. I'm actually on a parasite cleanse right now. It's a 10-day raw vegan parasite cleanse. I'm on day 8. Saturday night is my last. Yeah, Saturday night's my last day. But she believes, and I believe as well, that you can heal so much by what you eat and how you eat. And the first time I did it was in November, off of coffee, alcohol, like 3 months, 4 months completely off of all that stuff. And then recently went back to coffee. And then so now I'm on my 8th day of a raw vegan cleanse. And yeah, she's just doing something that's helping, I believe, the world and the planet and humans. She's at service to humans. What was really cool, though, because I also have a Western medicine doctor that's a close friend of mine. Yeah. All 3 of us sat at a table together at dinner, and just like, my doctor friend, Dr. Rutland, is like, well, what does that mean, food over drugs? Does that mean, like, she doesn't believe in drugs? Mm-hmm. Like, let's go have a conversation, right? And that's not about that. There's a time and place for drugs. But there's so many other things, so you don't ever have to get to drugs too. Yeah. Right? I mean, I'm Italian. My family force-fed me pasta and sausage and bread and butter and olive oil, like just all of these things. And food was more and more and more and more. My nana is like giving me pizza free, and like that's how they knew how to love. They're like, food, eat, right? But they don't understand like what's the consequence of that. I was depressed. I was all over the place, and it's like, yo, you gotta be careful.
Your blood sugar's up here, then it crashes. So part of the mood swing.
And they don't realize it. So yeah, she was. It was just cool to put the doctor and her together, just because they come from different paths, and they're just trying to understand each other, I think. And that's a beautiful thing, is being able to put polar opposites or different people together in a room, and still the story is love. Yeah. Right? Like, we're all the same thing. We want to help people.
Well, where's our intention?
Yeah.
What's the ultimate goal? And we can remember that and align to that. I think that's where you could sit down, both sides of the politics, all the stuff going on right now. The main thing that scares me the most is we keep adding. I believe it's more divisiveness in the world, right? We're adding more labels. Now there's like, I don't know how many genders, or there's this, or there's that. And I'm like, look, whatever anyone wants to believe, good for them. And I don't want to take away from it, because I'm coming from the lens of love, right? If you're human, I'm going to love you. Okay, cool. You do you. It's your prerogative. But when it's causing rifts, that I think is the problem. It's like, you're not doing it enough, or the right way, or this. I'm like, isn't me just being enough?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, there's definitely a motive behind all of this stuff that's happening, and it's just a matter of how you can stay true to yourself. And it's a scary world, right? Because we have children, and they go to school, and the way California's set up is not in the favor of, I think, truly allowing yourself to be free. I think it's swinging in a whole nother direction. It's like, it's a whole nother conversation. I mean, my kids go to a private school, and it's still a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like I don't even get to have my true voice.
Or a say, right?
Yeah. And that's a demasculating thing to do, right? That's a control thing, right? So when you feel like you're not necessarily in control, but when you can't be a leader in a position because you have to listen to some bullshit that you don't believe in, so our kids can go to school.
Yeah.
Like, it was sad, man. My kids were never vaccinated. Me and my kid's mother both didn't believe in it. And then we go to get them into schooling, and they're like, oh, they have to be, or they were like, they have to be vaccinated. And I'm like, and my they have to be vaccinated. I'm like, this is fucked up. Like,
those are some of the things.
For what?
My wife and I, like, we're going to jail if they're going to try to force that on my child. Me as an adult's one thing, but my child that's pure and like 2 years, I'm lucky. I mean, your kids are older, so you've dealt with that. And I
They're
was
doing
always,
it right. We're getting the shots right now.
oh, okay.
So we were just at this past year, they've been getting the shots. And one of the saddest things I've ever experienced was sitting in a doctor's office with my son and my daughter, and my son looking at me, crying, like, I don't want a shot. And I feel powerless.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't want you to have a shot either.
Yeah.
But for you to go to this fucking school because of the government mandates, which is all bullshit,
Mm-hmm. And we just,
you have to get a shot. And he's crying. He's like, I feel like this is a bad dream, Dad. And it's like, as a father, you're like, you don't believe in this, but yet you're still choosing it.
mm-hmm.
It's a very sad thing. And I know later on it's going to affect my relationship with him in some way of mistrust, just like I had with my mother.
Yeah. I hope not, but
Yeah. I mean, there's still going to be something there that will, work through. I think everything is something. So.
well, because one of the things I can see is like, you're like, sorry, son, you have to do this for school, but I don't believe in it, but you have to do it. So yeah, it's confusing, right? And at that age, we don't know what's happening. Like when my mom's like, you don't share outside that. Okay, let me just armor up.
Yeah.
Like we go to the extremes as children because we don't have
Yeah.
all the parameters to make sense of things.
Yeah.
Growing an empire, being an entrepreneur, right? As creatives, how do we start balancing the difference with, am I being true to my art right now? Like you do a lot of collaborations and partnerships, and I've dealt with, 20 suits in a room trying to tell me what they want me to do. And so how are you balancing that? Being the artist, being the entrepreneur, and then I get buried in the business sometimes and I'm like, whoa, I haven't created anything. What does that look like?
It's a constant journey every day. But I remember my first collaboration that came to my table. It was Pizza Hut.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Pizza Hut? I'm Italian. I eat homemade pizzas. Growing up, I had my own restaurant. My parents had a restaurant. We made pizza, right?
Yeah.
So you don't eat at Pizza Hut. I don't know if we could say that, but
They're not a sponsor.
not anymore. Not anymore. No. So I was like, fuck this. Like, no way. As an artist, I'm like, but also if to go back, I remember as an artist, however you want to quote that, which I believe every human is an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I remember making a pair of shoes, doing it once, and like, I don't ever want to do that again. I did it. I don't want to do it again. But people wanted that same one. And what I've learned to tune into deeper as, you can say, entrepreneur, just fucking human, was, no, eventually I was like, let's do it again to get it better, to get it better, to get it better. And it's like, there's beauty in the process of making things more than once. There's beauty in the process with working with someone like Pizza Hut that's bigger than you thinking you're some untouchable artist. It's also about, what is the goals and the intentions from them, right? They want to connect with people. I'm able to connect with people.
Yeah.
How can you make something that's fun and I can make a commercial that's cool? So it was a tough battle between myself, and there's no amount of money that anyone can pay me that I'll be fully satisfied and be like, that's my worth.
Yeah.
There's no amount. I don't care if someone offered me $1 billion for my business right now. There's nothing worth my whole life to create what I've been able to create and all of the shit that I've had to overcome. So yeah, the first collaboration was just a tough one, and it was a fun one coming out of it, and I learned so much from it. And when I put myself in uncomfortable positions or situations, and I learned through those things, and then I see what I liked, what I didn't like, that's how I know how to maneuver next. I did a year 2 with Pizza Hut. It fucking went viral. They put in so much love and energy into this campaign that it did what it needed to do, and we touched people in a way. And now there's people randomly meet me like, wait, you did the Pizza Hut shoes?
Yeah.
So it's cool. I make commercial cool, and it's fun to do. But there's definitely collaborations where I say no to all the time. How do I stay true and authentic to me as Dominic Ciambrone, and also the brand, the surgeon? and doing stuff that makes an impact. That's what's the most important, is what makes impact. We only have so much time on this planet and Earth. It's like, what's going to actually make impact. So it's still a journey. I mean, I'm working on my original brand. It's like, all right, now I can build this to be exactly how I want it. The Surgeon has become a platform for me to express myself in a way, but it's not fully me, which is a whole nother thing I had to go through. Like, I lost my identity multiple times. I didn't know who I was. You know, I was married. I had kids. I had a business. I was the surgeon. I also played this perfect husband and played all of these roles, and I lost myself. I want to say I lost myself, but I didn't know what my identity was. I was just all over the place. And then I had to come back to this place of you need to start loving yourself. And I've been seeing a life coach. He calls himself a life coach. Originally, he was a therapist. So I've been seeing him for 2.5 years. He actually called me right before I came. I didn't get to answer it, but it's been one of the most helpful things for me to just take a look at myself and always challenge myself. Yeah. What's next for me is those workshops, like the workshop you did. You know, I'm looking at a few different workshops like that, because I know how much it breaks you down and how uncomfortable it is, and I know what benefits come from that kind of thing. It's so tough, but it's scary.
Oh, it's terrifying.
But it's like that's when you know growth is coming, and when you can put yourself through that, right? And there's other ways that people do that, right? Whether it's an ayahuasca retreat or different things, it's like, at the end of the day, it's all trying to put you through a growth, right? And these workshops, like the one that you're gonna have to send me, I'm really looking into one right now, and I can definitely see I'm like stepping in fear of like, we'll see when the time happens.
Oh, dude.
But I know I need to go. And a friend of mine goes constantly, and he's like, every time is fucking deeper, and you keep pulling yourself back deeper, and it's like the deeper you get to know yourself, like the world just becomes like.
Oh, but you already, Dom. If you go, it's gonna blow your mind, and you're immersed. So we can talk about that off the record. But I'm happy to, you know, when someone invites someone, they become your angel. So like Lewis was my angel. So if you were to go through that and I walk you through it, then I could be part of that journey for you. I'd be honored. So you let me know.
Yeah.
But so partnerships, collaborations. You know, as for artists and creators that listen. You know, our biggest struggle is knowing our worth. You know, sometimes if money wasn't an object, I would do everything I do for free. I do it right now. The truth is I've got bills, I've got kids, I've got wife, I've got life, and I want to scale this thing huge. So I'm always investing the money into everything. I've had glimpses of seeing your downtown studio. You actually had a buddy of mine come by a couple weeks ago, Adam, Strong Coffee. Oh, and he went and saw it, and he talked it all up. Like, you've got this amazing place, which is like the dream for me to have that one day.
And for me, it's normal. You know what I mean? But like when you bring someone through there's a lot to take in. For me, it's like every day, right? So I'm also learning to like be present about that. Of like, yo, slow down. Like, this is amazing. You did this, and then when you share it to someone, like, give it the space that it really deserves. It's a beautiful thing. And of course, I'm building a second space already that I want to be different and more unique. Yeah. Right? Not better, just different. But yeah, the space is cool. And yeah, it's just as an artist and an entrepreneur, like it felt like this battle between myself of like, oh, I'm this artist, or I need to be an entrepreneur. And it's like, I'm just me, and I fit with in all of these things. I used to define myself. People are like, what do you do? Like, are you a sneaker customizer? And I'm like, no, I'm an artist. Now I'm just a human, but I'm a creative. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm good at marketing. Yeah. I'm good at all these things, but I'm also an artist. Yeah. And you don't have to be one thing in a box. It's like you can just choose everything, right? So yeah, it was a battle doing collaborations and then being true to yourself. And it's like, that's why you choose partnerships. We had a event launch last night with Can-Am. It's a company. We did Can-Am. Excuse me. I'm trying to figure out the actual way to describe Can-Am. We had a collaboration last night with Can-Am where I customized, or the team, me and the team. When I say it's a team of us. There's about 40 of us.
Damn.
Yeah. And we design and develop, and we actually customize three-wheel Riker bikes. It's the 2 wheels in the front and 1 in the back. And we fully wrapped them, and they're all different. And But we chose them because they understood us as a brand, and that we had brand identities that were similar. And I met with the CMO last night, and me and her had a really great conversation, and it made sense why we chose each other. It's life's too short. You need to be authentic and true to yourself, and people see right past that shit.
Yeah.
Just to do a collab, just to throw a label on it, or to like make a quick buck. It's like, no, who can you choose that actually, you know, you can make impact with?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, every day is a new day, and like the more I grow as an entrepreneur or just person of business, is the more I get to also step within my artistic, creative self. And I get to choose what I work on.
Yeah.
I have a design team, and you know, I feed them a lot of things, and there's some things when I need it to be exactly how I want it, and there's other things where I let them have free reign, and like I want them to express themselves through this medium that I've been able to create, right? And I get to touch anything, right? I had a collaboration with Gucci to Bentley to Nike to, I mean, I can't even name them, to Pizza Hut to Chips Ahoy.
You've got some dream collabs that I've been wanting to, like, I want to do a Jordan one day. I'm close. I'm almost have a meeting with someone. I keep throwing it out there.
Yeah, you just got to manifest it, man.
And like last year I did some with the NFL. Like that was amazing. I'm like, as an ex-football player, and you know, I have some friends in the league, I'm like, yo, I made it to the league now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not on the field, but
100%. That's 100% with what you're saying is like, I made shoes for the Super Bowl. I won the Super Bowl. The only 3 touchdowns scored were in my Super Bowl cleats.
The OBJ
I won
one?
a Super Bowl. OBJ, Cooper Cup. So I won a Super Bowl. I really feel like I won a Super Bowl.
Did.
And when
I give that to you right there.
when anyone wears my shoes in a boxing ring or anywhere, I feel it. I'm so engulfed. I'm not a sports guy. I don't, you know, I've never grew up loving sports.
Yeah.
I loved playing soccer, but I never followed sports. But now when these, you know, people are wearing my boots, I'm a part of them. I put all my soul and all my energy into what I create.
Yeah.
So they need, I want them to win just as much as they want to win, because they're wearing a product that I took my whole life to create. So now I train with these guys too. Like, you know, but it's just cool to like, now I'm like, oh, now I do love sports, because in the sense of like also to understand it differently. Like before I was just like, no, I don't have that mindless time to just watch, but it's like, yo, that's a fucking amazing thing to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. That shifted like 4 years ago. It was like, I felt like I became friends with all of these players because they loved my shoes. But I was just like, then I started watching more, and I was like, oh, it's harder to be a professional athlete than an artist. I feel like you have to talk to yourself in such a way, and
the trolls.
You have to practice. Like if you don't practice, you're not good. As an artist, yes, you need to practice, but you can also, there's artists that can throw some shit together, and it is what it is. But like an athlete, you need to put yourself all the time. And to be a better artist, you need to do that as well, right? But to be an artist, you don't need any of that. You can slap some shit on the ground. Like that's art right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just your leftover paint and just the old concrete.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, so there's also marketing in yourself and what art is.
No, yeah, and that's the thing. Where can we all take this to? You know, I feel that same feeling with you. Like you won the Super Bowl. I was able to get all the Rams geared up in love gear leading up through the playoffs. So we got to do that. Unfortunately, they locked it down right before because they didn't want a COVID scare.
Yep.
And between some of the Rams organization, we jokingly say like love got them through that. Because if you really look at it, it's like, how did we win? Yeah. The team wasn't the greatest team, but they won, they championed it, and it was awesome. And I got to go.
That was a dope
and
experience,
see it.
Man.
Yeah. But how do you scale from you? Like I've got some people around me, but as creators, so I look at where I'm only going to compare me right now, because it's like basically it's just me kind of doing everything, and I've got some consultants, but you just said I've got 40 designers. When did Dom become Dom plus this huge team, or how does that happen? And that's also probably these partnerships and knowing how to charge to be able to scale. Or
yeah, man, it's been a progress. I remember working out of my garage in Northern California, and started looking for friends to help me. I knew I needed help, and I knew I'm good at. I knew I needed help, and so I would look to friends like, oh, can you help me with this and that? And it was always tough because growing up, I learned a lot from my dad. It's like you work your ass off and it needs to be done your way. And instead of explaining it to someone, you just do it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, that's not really scalable.
No.
So I had friends helping me up north and would fly friends in to help me. And I learned so much from it. I was like, this doesn't even make sense. And then when I had my kid's mother helping me, and me and her worked we worked well together in some of the beginning stages where we worked on, it was just, I did the sewing and she did X, Y, and Z. And so I learned to work as a team with her. And then I moved to LA 10 years ago now. And I used to have friends from Northern California come down and help me. And you can see, like, I knew I needed a team. And the only way to build something great is by having a good team. Yeah. And then I remember hiring someone in LA. And I was hiring this guy that did some leather work. And I hired him to train him. And he wanted to, I don't know, make $15 an hour cash. And so I was paying him when I first was here. And I was paying him to train him. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. I'm paying you more than I'm paying myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't even pay you anymore. Like, if you want to do this, like, I can't pay you. It's just, I'm not making any money. Like, I was barely getting by.
Yeah, I've been,
you know what I mean? That. You're just, I ate pizza loca for a week straight with my friends. You buy the $5 big ass pizza. Yeah. You have some hot sauce. You heat it up every other day. That's just like cardboard. But like, you do what you have to do to get by. And then just kept building a team. And then I found, 2 people. And then I found 3 people. And then someone let go of someone. You know what I mean? You just slowly. I just knew I needed a team. I had 3 brothers. I had 1 older brother, 2 younger brothers. I grew up playing soccer. I grew up in team sports. I knew you needed a team to be great or to build something. And so, I was really good at, having other people do tasks and managing and kind of organizing that, but also being great at what I do. And yeah, I mean, now it's exploded. I have 40 people on the team, from atelier, where we make the product, design team, to marketing, to photo, video, to management, to services of my space, cleaning the space. I have a full-time builder because we build things. All of the spaces that I've built, and now I'm getting asked to design and build boxing gyms and music studios and anything, right? That's true to me. Yeah, yeah. Like, a lot of people only know me for the shoes, which I used to dislike, and now I love. It's like, it is what it is. Yeah. But as a kid, I was creating things before shoes. Right. And like, I know that, but my work speaks for itself, and people only know what they see. Right. So now the more I do it, the more I need to show the world. I don't need to. I choose to show the world, to open their eyes of who I am or who I can be, because I know my potential, and I haven't even touched the surface. And last night I was speaking at my event. I'm like, working on saying this from not a place of ego or a place of narcissism, was like, this is history in the making. Like, what I'm doing right now is going to change. It's changing the world. Like, I know it, but I also want to, curb the ego of just like, my work's going to speak for itself, and people will know when they know. And people know, there's people that know, but there's people just still, they're kind of blind to it.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I've seen, again, I've been watching you for a while. I've seen your growth. Excited to connect with you. But as we start wrapping it down, thank you so much for sharing the person, because I wanted to showcase the person. We can all Google the shoe surgeon and see what you came up through. Also, I do have one question. One of my buddies is a big sneakerhead, and I'm like, yo, shoe surgeon's coming. Do you have any questions for him? And he's like, yeah, what is a common misconception of the sneaker space that like drives you bananas? And then what is your grail?
What is say the first question? What is a
common
misconception?
Is there a common misconception in the sneaker space that like drives you bananas, that annoys you?
Used to. I think I've overcame a lot of it. Like the people think I'm a sneakerhead, first of all. I'm not. Well, I feel like I was a sneakerhead from high school to 21 years old. I used to collect sneakers, right? But then it flipped to me, how do I just make stuff?
Yeah.
And then, you know, people call me sneakerhead all the time. And then, you know, my ego is like, no, fuck that. I'm not a sneakerhead. Now I'll be like, sure, I'm a sneakerhead.
Yeah.
I don't care. But I'm not. I'm just a maker and a creative. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I have so many shoes now because either I make them for myself or people send me stuff. But like when I moved to LA, I had 10 pairs of shoes, dirty ass Vans I'd wear all the time. I'm an artist, and like I remember wearing these leather Chuck Taylors. I was in a store wearing these shoes, and I have this tattoo of a cobbler on my arm. She saw the tattoo. She's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a shoemaker." And she looks at my feet, and she's like, "I'm never gonna buy shoes from you." And I'm just like thinking, like, you know, that kind of hurt me a little bit. And I was like, "Fuck you," but you know, like, yeah, I think the term sneakerhead, like, I'm not a truly defined sneakerhead, and I also don't have hate on who a sneakerhead is or a hype beast. Like it's just all terminology, you know, bullshit. But I'm not a sneakerhead. I'm a creative and a maker. Sneakers just happen to be my platform and my medium and my canvas. But I'm touching a Bentley. I'm touching a Can-Am. I'm touching houses. I'm touching hotels, restaurants, apartments. I'm changing lives through these classes. I'm creating experiences. So yeah, I would say that one is just the term sneakerhead.
Yeah.
And then my grail, I haven't made it yet. It's the last one I ever make.
Good question.
It's the last one I ever make. My mentor, I always tell him, like, what's your favorite boot? He's like, I haven't made it yet. It's going to be the last one I ever do. And I'm like, damn. We go around, and when I teach the class, I ask everyone, what's your favorite shoe or the shoe you're wearing? I don't believe in favorites. I truly don't.
Yeah.
You can't. It's just different moments and times and things that came. I have a story for this shoe that I made. It was a Super Sky Top 4, but it was like how the shoe came to life. And I don't even have this shoe. That's also probably why I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? When you don't have something, you just you want it more.
You're
It's
like,
just
how do I go get that?
Yeah, that's just the way it is. But yeah, I don't. You know, I give thanks and love to the original 1985 Jordan 1 and what Michael Jordan and Nike did, because without that, this would be a whole different space.
Yeah, totally.
I wouldn't have without me wearing that first Jordan and being connected to other people, I would not be here to this day creating how I create. So I give love to that Jordan 1, my cousin, and Nike, right? I didn't even watch the Air movie yet.
I loved it.
Okay, I haven't watched it yet. They wanted me at the premiere. I've just been so traveling everywhere. Yeah. I need to go see it. But it's like, and that's where a lot of people like hate on big brands. And it's like, yo, they're fucking magical. It's tough to get that big. It's hard. And they're staying true as much as they can to who they are as a company at that size. So, you know, haven't made it yet, truly. The original 1985 Jordan 1, because it really connected me with who I was. I Sharpied my Data Supremes when I was in middle school, and I did other stuff growing up, but like that first shoe gave me this power. It gave me this connection with myself to connect with other people that then created a canvas, then I could do it myself, right? So there's something special with that one, and I'll never, ever, you know, take that away from what it was. But I like weird shit. Like, I mean, I'm wearing a Footscape Magista because it has a wide toe box and it's comfortable. And I travel all the time, so they're easy to do. But like, I like wearing weird shit, and the shit that I work on, like, people don't even get it, which is fine. Like, I know I can see the future, and I can see what I like, and that's true to me. And I know the people that I connect with it are the people I want to connect with, and I don't care about everyone else. I'm not for the masses. I don't want to be. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I just like creating and wearing stuff that's true to me. And there's all different parts of me, like the custom Nikes or the custom Jordans or custom branded things. It's like it's always going to be part of my ethos of who I was and who I've been able to grow into. But it's like being, you know, a caterpillar to a butterfly, or even a snake shedding its skin. Snake keeps coming up for me, and I just got a snake tattoo. It's one of my favorite ones.
There you go.
It took me 5 years to get it because he was in Milan. But there's growing up, you think as a snake as being a negative thing. Snakes in the grass, like you're so snaky, you know what I mean? And so in your head, it's the negative. And then people kept pulling cards
Or
for
in the
me.
Bible, it's a negative too, right?
Yeah,
The serpent.
yeah. And it's like people kept pulling cards and they kept coming up for me. And I'm like, yo, what's up with the snake? So I kept looking into it. I was like, no, like I'm reshedding and I'm regrowing constantly. Snake's a beautiful thing. Of course, it's going to bite you if you fucking, you know what I mean? That's
as anything will.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just how you look at things.
Do I say it through the lens of love or the lens of fear? But you brought up the snake. Recently, I was talking to someone, or I was listening to something. I don't know what it was, but they brought up a snake. As far as snakes change their skin all the time, they just leave it behind. They shed and move on.
Yep.
It's not like they're scraping. You see a whole skin come off. So it's like the evolution. It's a whole new season.
Yep.
You know, it's like, what's your mood? What's my season today? What do I want to wear today? You know, one of the things I go more toward is comfort now.
Yep.
Like my work shoe.
Oh yeah, comfort is the most important thing. So that
My brother got me some Hokas, and I was like, oh, this is gay. Okay, I see the hype now.
No, Hoka's doing some good stuff.
Yeah.
Hoka's doing some good stuff. I'm really close with them. We were talking about things. But comfort is most important when you get older. And also just because your body, we're not here forever, right? So it's like we need to be comfortable. So that's why I'm working on my original collection. It's comfort first. Well, not first. It's comfortable and fashionable because it's just
fashion, function, comfort.
Yeah, but it's gonna have all of these things. It's all of the things, but comfort is very important for me.
Have you in your other, when you recon the Jordan, have you tried to make them more comfortable, or you leave that to how it is?
I have at times. There's times when I have, and there's only so much you can do based on having something that's already there. So that's why just designing something completely original and new is the way to control that more.
I have an idea I've been trying to bring to life. I want to tell you. We can tell you off the record if you want.
Cool.
All right, final question, Dominic. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. But it's, how do you define living a life through love?
Living a life through love is just truly loving yourself and working on yourself and learning to love yourself, and also being able to be at service to humans. And understanding fear is always going to be there. It's natural, right? And there's purpose for fear.
Yeah.
Right? We should never not be completely fearful. If you're not, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So it's important to be brave and to look through the fear. Me and my kids talk about it all the time. Sometimes to my daughter, I'm like, "Oh, you're fearless," and she's like, or my son, he's like, "I'm not fearless." You know what I mean? Like, I have fear. They tell me too. I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right. But you're brave, right? Well, no one's truly fearless.
Yeah.
And if you do, it's a lie. There's fear. It's just, how do you go into that fear? And when you can tap into love as the mighty power, you will be able to navigate this life in a way that it comes from mind, body, and spirit. Because I think we're just all love, right? And it's like, how do you disperse that in a way? And it's that self-talk. How do you constantly love yourself? There's times when I'm beat myself up, and then I'm stopping, I look, and I'm like, damn, why you relax? Like, it's not that serious. Like, laugh, and I'll laugh, and I'm like, look at all this shit. Like, don't be so hard on yourself, right? But that's a constant practice, and I wouldn't know that, without putting the team around me to understand it like that. So, yeah, living from a place of love is just being true and authentic, and knowing how to tap into that. And like I said in the beginning, it's just like a lot of people don't have love in their life. They've never even been nurtured as a child, which is I can't imagine it. The way I was loved was like so amazing, like hugged and kissed and affirmed. And, there may have been other things like boundaries and codependencies that, you know, could have been done differently, but
Yeah.
they are what they are. And I had so much love that a lot of people don't get. So I'm so grateful for that, for myself and for my children, because I get to give that to them and work on these other things that I want to work on. And yeah,
that's why we're here. We're here to love and be loved.
yeah.
Well, thank you for coming through. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing your heart with us. Appreciate you. And where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram. The Surgeon is the business, and then my personal page is Ciambrone, Ciambrone, and also the Academy page, Surgeon Academy, SRGNACADEMY, on Instagram.
And we'll link all that up and anything else.
Awesome, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Live Through Love. If you love this episode, you'll love this episode.